That's not a hard word.
Woo! It's Friday. I am barely alive.
Oh, wow. Barely.
But we are live.
We are live.
This is Ari, the data queen, joined by analyst hold Matt Muscardi and Hazelnut Rawless. On today's weekly wrap-up, we got Boeing's got a new boss, right? That was announced.
That was a thing.
Assassination is bad for business. Who
Maybe.
knew? Machismo is back.
Back?
As if it ever
Where
left.
did it go? Did
Yeah,
it leave?
It's back.
And more stuff. I'm excited for today's show, you guys.
Are
Today's
you?
show is brought to you by Freeflow Analytics. Everything you ever wanted to know about who runs public companies, all free. If you want to know who to blame for that plane part falling out of the sky, which plane part? I don't know.
All the plane parts.
Well, the one that landed on your mother's garden. Don't guess. Look it up at freeflowanalytics.com.
Actually, we should get more ad copy for Ari to just read.
For the first time.
Yeah. Ari could just live read it like randomly, not knowing what's coming.
By the way,
It feels like the best way to
our
do this.
sponsor does stipulate that the copy should be read after the theme, so we already are in, breach of our contract.
Oops.
We already screwed up.
Yeah. So you have to
Don't
give back
sue me.
the 10 cents they give us every week to read that.
Oh, 10 cents.
All right. Well,
That actually is an overestimate.
you know what we have today, and we're going to get started with story.
Oh, I like it right into it. No hellos, no goodbyes.
Look, Ari's hungry
I'm so
and she's tired.
I'm going to get a bagel after this.
She's
I've
literally
decided.
eating the goldfish that my kid left in the office.
Well, look,
A while
right
ago.
now.
It's a little stale.
We
Yeah,
don't have
like
our
6 weeks
we don't have
ago.
our summer intern Chantal anyway, so this show should be less than 4 hours, right? All right, let's go. I have 5 quick stories. I actually don't have a lot of stuff to say this week. Boeing names Robert Kelly Ortberg as new CEO.
So his nickname is Kelly.
His middle name is Kelly.
Okay.
And everyone calls him Kelly Ortberg. I haven't done a deep dive on him yet, and I'm not sure that I care enough anymore because it's basically just
The
a
25-year
shit show.
story, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I do like that the headline said Kelly Ortberg, and it made it seem like a Glass Cliff CEO
Yeah,
because
well,
of the name Kelly.
Well, what about the
and then it
Robert
wasn't.
part?
Well, I missed the Robert in the
Okay.
headline. It was just Kelly.
Right.
And then I would immediately wondered how quickly I could connect him to all the existing Boeing board members. And I'm sure it's going to
Well,
be
we'll
pretty
do
quick
that
when I
on
look.
upcoming shows, I'm sure.
But otherwise, do we care about this?
This is how much I care. Elliott, this is the next headline. Elliott Management offers Starbucks settlement to allow CEO to keep top job. So Elliott Management has taken a significant stake in Starbucks. They have proposed board expansion and governance improvement at Starbucks in a settlement that would let CEO Laxman Narasimhan keep his job.
What is board
I don't know.
governance improvement? What is that?
Is board expansion kind of like the Supreme Court expansion, right? It's kind of the same thing. Maybe they're getting ideas from the
good point.
left. Expanding the Supreme Court.
Yeah, maybe the expansion is the governance improvement.
Next story. Ooh, I like this one. Melinda Frenchgate says billionaires Ackman, Musk, Thiel don't count as philanthropists. So she had an interview with the New York Times. She specifically commented on the charitable giving of billionaires like hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, Block CEO Jack Dorsey, PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel, Tesla CEO Elon Musk, the tech bros. She said, quote, "They use their voice and they use their megaphones, but I would not call those men philanthropists. Go look at their record of actually giving money to society. It's not big." I love this.
Wow.
Wow. Nice.
And then she
call-out.
dropped the mic and walked out of the interview.
And part of the reason why this conversation started was that while, yes, Warren Buffett has given a lot of money to the Melinda Gates and Bill Gates Foundation over the years, he has actually stipulated in his will that he's going to give the money to his children, but there's no directive that the children actually keep giving. The children are allowed to do what they want with the money. The assumption being that they will continue the giving, but he's actually not directing them to do that. So we don't really even know.
Yeah, does philanthropy count if you give all the money to your family trust that's like a nonprofit foundation-y thing, and then that foundation hires all your children for like $10 million a year?
I think it
does
depends.
Does that count?
When you peek through the windows at night and they're lighting their cigars with $10,000 bills, that's
when it doesn't count.
All right. Fourth big story. I don't know if this is a big one, but I pulled it anyway. Meta platform reaches Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg reaches $1.4 billion settlement with Texas over privacy lawsuit filed in 2022. The Texas lawsuit alleged that Meta was in violation of a state law that prohibits capturing or selling a resident's biometric information, such as their face or fingerprint, without their consent. So,
Wow.
this is
With
kind of interesting.
Texas. I can't believe Texas sued.
Well,
Can all states sue?
they're
over
suing
this?
liberals. They're suing the Silicon Valley. They're probably excited by that.
Really? Are we calling
Well, I
Mark
don't know.
Zuckerberg a liberal
I
now?
assume that Texas thinks that anyone from California is basically Cesar Chavez. I don't know.
$1.5 billion. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. And
It
finally,
does seem like a lot.
well, it's not a lot considering his personal wealth and the wealth of the company.
Well,
I
still.
mean, wasn't the Purdue settlement for basically decimating society
Still
something like
decimating. Still.
7 or 8 billion? Wasn't it like
Yeah.
$8 billion?
That's true.
Or like, so this is like 1/7 of the Purdue settlement, and it's just because they took the picture of your
Matt,
face
those
and
were
kept it in their
painkillers.
database.
It wasn't their fault. Those were just painkillers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually did the math and multiplied that by 50. I thought if every state sued them, that is a considerable
Right?
amount. Finally,
Let's do it.
the fifth story of the week. Back to this is an old refrain. The headline is 4 hottest days ever observed raise fears of a planet nearing tipping points. But they say this always is we're nearing tipping points. It has been hot.
It does.
It has been hot.
It does feel hotter, tipping pointier than it has before.
Yeah.
I
Four
don't
hottest
know.
days ever never sounds great to me.
That's basically in a row too.
Which happened last
all
summer, right?
right.
I think.
I have a winner.
Hey,
All right,
look,
go ahead.
America's all about winning, and this is a winning streak.
Yeah, Simone Biles and hot days.
That's all we have.
And hopefully Kamala.
All right, the 4 stories here are Boeing's new president and CEO. Did not say whether he's going to be board chair. Just said president and CEO.
Well, they
So,
don't. They've had haven't they?
Mollenkopf is currently board chair, right?
But they've had a history of separating the role, have they not? I'm trying to remember before Calhoun.
Calhoun is board chair. I believe Muhlenberg was stripped board chair because of the MAX 8 planes. That was when they separated. His first punishment was
you're getting into
you
the
can't
weeds.
be chair and CEO.
Save it for another show. No one cares.
Elliot's Starbucks settlement. Melinda Gates says tech bros not actually philanthropists, and Meta's lawsuit of 1.4 billion and 4 hottest days ever. There's a lot of
I
stories.
cheated. And she added a story.
There's a
I
lot
cheated.
here. I think.
It's a hard one.
Well, man. For me, it's between Boeing and Starbucks.
Wait, eat
Wow.
a cracker before you decide.
Really, Starbucks. I'm
yeah.
surprised you're picking that one.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
correct.
board expansion at Starbucks. I wonder what they want.
Well,
Do they want the new people to just be better at being anti-union?
probably.
Just wondering.
Starbucks actually is part of my predictions this week. So,
Oh, well, I'm going to go with Starbucks.
all right, why not?
Oh,
Although I'm
the correct
surprised.
answer.
Frankly, I'm
Most
surprised.
definitely the wrong answer.
I have the
That is
feeling I'm gonna be breaking a
100% the wrong
tie. I can
answer.
sense that.
Yeah, you're definitely breaking
And
a
it's
tie.
not going to be
The big
Starbucks. So there you go.
the big story this week is
I hope Matt picks right.
Boeing's new CEO.
Ugh, so boring. I think
Look,
So boring.
for our
This
company,
company-
yes. For our company, yes, of course.
No, this Boeing for GDP between itself and its suppliers represents something like 0.7% of all GDP in this country. It's a massive, massive drag on our country in terms of economic output. It is now in its 6th year of shit falling out of the sky and like
I just-
finding like screwdrivers that they just put inside the walls of planes.
As a side note, can I just say that? So I'm potentially taking my first airplane vacation in the next few weeks. I haven't been anywhere since 2022, and I kind of promised myself in 2022 that I wasn't going to fly again because I hate it. But I might be going away. But what I was discovering while looking for flights was that I have to pay a premium picking Airbus flights. They just seem to be more expensive, but I'm still going to do it. I'm actually paying extra. I also, on a side note, as a tall person, I have to pay extra to pick my seat now. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, and to sit in seats that have actual leg room
it's terrible.
instead of no legs.
But what made me laugh was that while I'm avoiding Boeing specifically in my tickets, the Trump campaign announced that J.D. Vance's new plane is like a 20-year-old Boeing, and Trump's plane also is a Boeing. It just made me laugh that they're going with Boeing and I'm going with Airbus.
They have to because it's the only American-made plane. They have to go with the American-made one.
I'm sure they're going with a cheap one, but
yeah,
that's clearly the winner. Sorry, Ari, but.
Yes, that is correct.
Go find your Starlink.
Well, we're a company based on people, and we talk about Boeing way too much. We gotta go with Kelly for this one. So let's move on. That's
your
it.
Starliners. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go on to introduce yourself.
Goodliest of the week. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about my headlines this week. We're going to start off with Amazon CFO blames the Olympics and Trump assassination for slowing sales.
Oh,
what?
Saying customers only have so much attention.
I'm waiting for the good news, Ari. Go ahead.
Love this.
Go ahead.
This is so funny.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, I believe the Thursday they're referring to is yesterday. On Thursday, Amazon stock prices fell by more than 7% after the CFO, Brian Olsavsky, announced that the revenue miss for the third quarter.
What are we cheering here?
This year was because the people are just too distracted to shop.
Well, that's where I would disagree.
Good. You
actually,
stop buying crap.
I think the CFO was holding back here. They weren't too distracted to shop. They were depressed. Every American, at least in my circles, was really, really depressed for many weeks and months, really. But now everyone's perked up, so maybe they're shopping again. I don't know. But yeah, Ari, go ahead.
So what he said was that it's going to be hard to predict whether or not people are going to buy the stuff that they would have bought like in the past if they're going to buy it this next quarter or if they're just going to forget about it. And if they just forget about it, it is people buying crap because they're bored, and that's it. And
wow!
And this assassination kept them from buying crap.
No, it kept them
from being bored.
That's where I think he's lying. It didn't keep them. They're not bored. Again, the assassination
they're
made
too
them
depressed.
They were depressed because everyone thought that because Biden was running, the assassination was going to help Trump. Right. The polls were going his direction. The Olympics excuse is stupid. Since when is watching TV filled with ads making people not want to shop? I mean, I've been watching Olympics every night. There's a ton of ads. Why is that stopping me from shopping? I mean, I don't understand that part of it.
I'm not actually. I think his point is actually that people are doing like paying attention to something else, and
you can't shop while watching TV. People do that religiously?
If you're depressed and watching TV with an iPad on your lap,
I wish I had an iPad.
You just and you've got like $4 of extra income. Nobody's like putting it in their IRA. They're spending it on fucking rubber chickens on Amazon. I think he's just saying like they're actually engaged in other things,
I think it was
conversations, going out, watching something that honestly, keeps their attention instead of nothing burger.
I think Americans were worried about the chaos of Trump winning again. I think they were depressed. So that's just me.
We'll see how the fourth quarter goes.
I don't know. I think he's basically saying Kamala Harris ruined their sales,
but they missed the mark by as much
helped.
As
she's going to help the sales.
$500 million.
No, I think it hurts.
That was the previous quarter. All right, we'll see. All
right, number 2. I think you're really going to like this one.
And Ari, in no sense of the word is that story good. Where is the good in that story?
People didn't buy crap. That's amazing.
That's good. I am with her.
Whatever.
That's amazing.
I'm with it. People buying less crap is good.
Fine. Listen to this one. Fake caller app. I know you get these fake calls. Fake caller app shut after thieves duped thousands.
I don't answer my phone.
Forget about the second part. A company or a platform called Russian Comms allowed criminals to pretend to be callers from a bank or a telecoms
answers
firm
those?
in order to steal money or personal details from thousands of people around the world.
Thousands.
They have thousands. They've been shut down by the UK's National Crime Agency. And this agency said that between 2021 and 2024, over 1.3 million calls were made to 500,000 unique UK phone numbers.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I don't care about
right?
this.
In like not that long period of time.
Don't
About
answer your phone.
170,000 people in the UK are believed to be victims, with the average
sad.
reported loss of more than £9,400.
That's
That's more than
depressing.
$10,000.
We're stupid.
You know-
We're stupid people.
I love getting those calls. My
You
my
actually
dad once got
answer? You answered those
I hate
calls?
those
I don't believe
So
you.
my dad, who's a smart man, but got a call from somebody saying they were from Microsoft and they
Oh,
detected
I've
a
gotten
software
those in the past,
vulnerability.
yeah.
You know those calls, right? He picked up the phone and he was like, "My son is here. I happen to be there."
His
And he's like, "My
landline
son
or
is
a
here."
cell
He-
phone?
landline.
Okay, well, that's different. Landline's
and,
different.
And handed me the phone. He's like, my son deals with all the computer stuff. And I strung the guy along for like an hour just for
Oh
fun.
my God.
I was like, and then
He's
I
saving
ended,
other people.
I ended the call by saying like, should I wire the funds to your personal account or to, you know, like, do you have a mom or a relative you want me to send it to? And then they hung up on me.
Well,
it was the greatest waste of
Matt,
their time.
Microsoft is down today. Its stock price, so maybe it's because of you.
It was because of me.
Distracted
Because it's a
them.
security vulnerability.
So this is great. Bad guys got caught.
I don't feel
That's
good about this
good
either, Ari.
Story.
This just makes me feel that like people are really dumb. Like they're being duped too easily. I don't know.
All right. Well, this one is really
You're,
extra
hey,
good.
people in the UK,
You're
your
all
bank's
extra
not
good.
calling you. Okay, so just
Yeah,
stop.
That's true.
Just stop.
They don't call.
You know, my mom almost got duped. Well, no, she did. The people got into her cell phone. She got an email, definitely a phishing email from Apple, but she was like, I'm too smart. I'm not going to click this link.
Yeah.
I'm going to Google Apple customer service phone number and call them.
Yeah, Apple's not
So she
calling you
did.
either.
She did. She called the first hit on Google. And
that was the fish.
And that was the scam. That was the fake thing. It was a fake
What?
She
scam.
got
Really?
scammed avoiding the
Yeah.
scam.
Wow,
Yeah.
I like that one. See, that's a scam I appreciate.
So-
It's like a chess game, that one.
All right, but last.
Yeah, give me something good.
VCs for Kamala.
Yeah.
Have you heard of VCs for Kamala?
Wait, this was
We
my prediction.
signed,
This was my prediction last
Founder
week.
for Kamala. There's another group.
I predicted that
Well-
there's going to be support for Kamala from CEOs. So that's my
Great
prediction.
job.
Yeah.
Well, on Wednesday, Leslie Feinzig, the founder and
I
CEO
love
of
your
the Graham and
preparation for
Walker
this show.
Venture Fund, she launched VCs for Kamala as a response to the outside VC voices like Elon Musk, David Sachs, and Mark
Who's Elon
Andreessen,
Musk?
our favorite. They were all
Who's
very
Elon Musk?
loudly endorsing Donald Trump
Mm-hmm.
and throwing a ton of money behind him. It started out as a tweet. Don't yell at her. But it gained momentum, and over 600 venture capitalists are now.
Is that a
pledging
lot?
to
I don't
vote
even
for
know. How many
Harris.
venture capitalists are there supporting candidates? That seems like a lot.
I mean, that's 600 people, like executives and VCs, being like, "We're doing this," as opposed to just like
I don't-
5 billionaires being like,
I mean,
"Yay, Trump!"
I like anyone supporting Kamala, but I don't even really feel good about this story, Ari. I'm
What?
confused.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I mean, you could have had
So-
there's so much going on in the Olympics. Simone Biles had this great tweet this morning about how she's saying she loves her black job.
How does that
the
affect?
guy from Worcester.
How does that
Yeah.
affect what we're doing?
Yes, that's true. How does that affect what we're doing?
Well,
Nobody
you just
knows.
talked about the Olympics for 25 minutes saying that people aren't buying mops because the Olympics are on. I don't know.
They're
Because
not.
Simone.
They're not cleaning
They're just
anything
living
right
in
now.
filth because the Olympics are on.
Well, Reid Hoffman, one of your faves, co-founder of LinkedIn or founder of LinkedIn.
No,
Salesforce.
not one of my faves. LinkedIn irritates me
LinkedIn,
constantly.
yeah.
Although it's probably the best social media site because it
All right. Well,
irritates
you like
me
Mark
less.
Cuban. I know that.
I am
Everybody likes
officially.
Mark Cuban.
I don't do this very often. I don't know if I've ever done this. I am officially.
Oh my God.
I am pledging I'm giving my vote to Matt. Matt is going to speak for me on this vote. Whatever he says
Wow.
wins.
That is the biggest
I don't
insult
care.
you can give.
I don't care about any of this. I don't want VCs. Fine, like whatever. Give your money to Kamala. That's okay.
VCs for Kamala.
Matt, what's the
Come
winner?
on.
I like when Matt has the power. It's exciting.
The winner here is Amazon.
I was gonna say Amazon.
Why?
That's a great
VCs for
story.
Kamala is like it's the natural extension of the 7 other things that have happened, and
Sure.
I feel like
This
everybody's
week,
riding on the
exactly.
train.
This is Goodliest of the week.
But this is Amazon saying they're down 7%. Because no one cares about buying stuff on Amazon. I like that. I like.
All right.
I wish they were down 7% every single week.
Not good.
Okay, I'll take it. Fine.
All right, moving on.
All right,
That's
well,
the
that
winner.
means it's my turn.
Oh no.
That's the winner because I got Damien's vote. I just proxy voted for Damien.
It was exciting.
I'm like
How's it
I'm
feel?
like ISS.
I was kind of like oddly excited by that moment. I didn't know what you were going to pick.
All right, I'm going to start off
Oh, no.
with a lot of data, and
Shut
then the
his
other
mic
two
off.
are
Shut his
really
mic off,
short.
Rory.
Short and easy. All right, here's the data. 25,000 U.S. directors active right now, just over 25,000. The number of new directors in the United States at publicly traded companies were appointed between June 1st, 2023 and June 1st, 2024, which is roughly proxy season, 1,875 new directors, okay?
Yeah, it's like
1,000
it feels like roughly
1,875.
like one director for every board almost.
Pretty much the way it works out for the most part. The average time between appointment to a board and election at an AGM is about 4 months.
Now, where do you have that data? You had the start date and then the AGM date?
It took me a long time.
Okay, I was going to say
figure that
that's a
out,
tricky
yeah.
data point. And
That is a very tricky
and something
data
that
point.
we've argued about and yelled about for a while. This is obviously a intentional strategy.
The average TSR performance of those 1,875 directors, to the extent they've ever been on a publicly traded board before, is 473 is the batting average.
So what does that mean?
Meaning
They're just
they're just below,
Low.
barely below average. I mean, average range, you'd expect between 400 and 600 batting average for this. So they're literally squarely at average, maybe slightly below average. So you've added 1,875 directors who are average at their, if you expect them to deliver stock results,
Fair.
they're average at it. They're not great, they're average.
Because
what
they're
do
not
they
bad.
expect?
The average vote in favor for those directors, these new directors who are average, is 97.9% in favor. It's actually higher than the U.S. average of 95% and the global average of 96%.
You do see that in the voting patterns. You see that shareholders react to new directors as like, yeah, like let's give them a choice. Let's give them a
Exactly.
chance.
Just put them on the board. We'll sort it out later.
Although my solution is better than this, which is that put up 2 directors, have them compete against each other.
Well, here's why I'm going down this data rabbit hole. There were 9 different headlines that you pulled just this week, of directors added to boards at the following companies: Welltower, NetApp, Nexstar, Boston Scientific, Kenvue, DeFi Technologies, American Airlines, AEO, and Williams-Sonoma. That's just this week.
Were any of them
okay?
elected?
Well, all of them were appointed.
Right.
Every one of these
Weird.
is American Airlines names Howard Unger leader to its board. Kenvue announces board changes. They said Boston Scientific elects David Habinger to board of directors.
All right.
But Boston Scientific shareholders didn't elect him. Boston Scientific
that's
elected
tricky.
him.
Right.
And here's what I realized. Take Williams-Sonoma as an example, okay? Williams-Sonoma's last annual general meeting, in which shareholders vote for directors, that's where they do the voting, was on May 29th of this year. Ariana Huffington was added to the board 10 full months before the next AGM.
What?
Yeah.
That's still close to 1 year. Why didn't this
If
happen?
she serves
Well, there are no rules.
average
there are no rules
tenure-
in this regard.
if she serves the average tenure of 7 years, before she gets a vote, she will have served 12% of her total
Look
tenure
at you with percentages.
unelected.
Wow.
12% of the time she's a board member at Williams-Sonoma, if she serves the average tenure, she will be unelected. If she serves less than average, like if she just
It'll be
lasts for
more.
3 years, a third of her time on the board, there was no vote for her.
Except you're forgetting that the company's assumption is that since all of these directors have become rubber stamped now, we don't worry about it. Like, they're essentially elected to the board because they see the voting patterns, right? I mean,
Well,
wouldn't that be their
here's-
argument?
that might be
They
their
automatically agree with us anyway. The shareholder democracy seems to be dormant when it comes to directors.
argument. It applies in 98% of the cases. But Thomas Gaynor was added to the Coca-Cola board of directors. He served 10 full months before he got a vote, and investors voted 39.1% against
Wow.
his election.
Wow.
Interesting.
He really pissed people off.
He was added to the board. He served there for 10 months, and he actually was voted against. Your asshole here is the shareholder democracy, which is an unelected democracy for the most part. There is no democracy.
It's a dormant democracy.
They're being put on board. Imagine if Kamala Harris was named president of the United States.
But that's what I want.
Served
Yeah.
10%.
I want
or
Biden
10
to
or
give her
10
the
months.
presidency. Yeah.
And then people elected her.
This is
Imagine if that was the case.
That's
We'd
like
lose
the-
our fucking minds.
Well, you're describing what happened in the TV show Veep. That's what I wanted Biden to do is actually step down so that Kamala was already the president, just like directors. And can I say, Matt, this speaks to my point I made on one of our shows within the last few weeks, is that so the investable universe says that a controlled company is one where a single entity controls 30% of the vote, right? That's what
Right.
MSCI considers a controlled company. That's why I said that if a director gets 30% against, they should call that
get out.
It's an effective majority, right? Because
Yeah.
if that same number can control a company, then Thomas Gaynor should be out with 39%. That's my philosophy, at least. Why not?
That's a great theory.
Thank you. Finally,
my
had
favorite under the data that I looked at was a company called Mercury Systems actually had 3 new directors appointed between June 23rd of 2023 and July 2nd of 2023. The AGM didn't happen until October 25th of 2023. It's a classified board.
Well, I was going to say, classified.
It had
boards.
9 directors at it on the time. So they basically appointed 3 new directors, a third of the board, and now it's got 11 directors on it. But a third of the board at the time
I wonder.
with no oversight.
Right.
And guess where they put them?
On
the
committees.
M&A committee.
Right. Ooh.
Meaning in the, 6 months between when they were put on the board and when they were elected, quote unquote, to the board by shareholders. Imagine the amount of M&A you could get done. You could negotiate you could buy a company, and shareholders had no say in the people who were overseeing the purchase of that company. It's a fake democracy, people.
Doesn't have to be.
So that's my first asshole.
All right.
It is the fake shareholder democracy. The other 2 are way easier to understand, but that one got me riled up when I looked
Okay,
at the
come
data.
on. What else?
Here's the data for number 2. Free float uses of the word AI in selling its massive data set and models. You want to know how many times when we sell to like a client our data set, we say AI?
Not enough time.
0 times.
Yeah, not enough
I've
is
said
right.
it 0 times. I get asked all the time, do you guys use the AI for this? And I say, no.
What do they care?
Free float capital raises, saying the word AI, getting SoftBank money trickling in, pretending we're not full of shit. 0. We've never said it when we went to an investor and said we don't say we use AI.
Full
'cause it's
disclosure,
bullshit.
though, when we were working on an investor deck, I did say we should put in AI a few
You
places.
did. You said that.
Yeah.
And then I said, but then we'd be full of shit.
No,
and
you
then
said
we didn't put it in.
No, you said how do you spell AI? That's a direct quote.
Total capital raised by firms claiming to do AI in just the second quarter of this year, $55 billion.
Yeah, they're looking for
Wow.
unicorns. That's all they care about.
Here's your headlines. Study finds consumers are actively turned off by products that use AI.
Obviously.
And second headline, AI toothbrushes are coming for your teeth and your data. This is what you spent $55 billion on. A toothbrush.
Wait, will they brush my
AI.
teeth for me? I would like that.
Sends your data. Well, what plaque amounts, the swirl, whether I got far enough back in my soft
gotta
palate,
say,
like
not that you're asking, Matt, but I've watched a lot of Shark Tank. How come no one's invented a device that brushes your teeth for you?
I mean, that's what an electric toothbrush is.
No, but really, you just put it in your mouth,
should have something that
like
you
a
just
Roomba.
stick in your mouth.
like a
Right,
robot vacuum.
Exactly.
Just put the Roomba in your mouth. Let it go to work. What are we waiting for?
I
here, people?
agree.
Maybe you morons who are giving $55 billion of every firm that just writes the word AI in what they do should give that money to a company that actually does something that people want. Maybe like voting in the shareholder democracy and measuring
So
those
who's the
people. But it
asshole?
doesn't even have to be that. How about anything?
Who's the asshole?
That the asshole is every VC
Investors.
who's giving $55 billion to the word AI,
even if
and
they're
not to
supporting,
us.
even if they're supporting Kamala.
No,
That's why you guys didn't vote for VCs. For
Well,
I can't vote for VCs.
I
They're
don't
all-
like the way VCs allocate their capital, Ari. I'll be honest.
And for my last asshole, I'm going to give you headlines first, and then we'll come back. Okay.
This is my game.
Here are the
Yeah.
Here are the headlines. Marvin Ellison, who's Lowe's department, home improvement. Marvin Ellison says a throwdown with Calvin Butler would be a short fight because Exelon CEO is a little fella. Here's another headline. Marvin Ellison really wants you to know he's a chain guy now.
What's that mean?
He wears chains.
Oh,
Marvin
I don't know.
Ellison.
weird.
Jane Fraser, City's CEO. Jane Fraser, through Sandra Duckett, who's TIAA Cref CEO, and other finance millionaires brawl over politics.
Ooh.
Ramon LaGuardia, Pepsi CEO, accepts a challenge to fight a Venezuelan strongman. He will chicken out.
Okay.
And finally,
I kind of
Phoebe
know where you're going
Novakovic.
here. But
Phoebe Novakovic,
Yeah.
who's General Dynamics CEO, defends posting a deepfake video of Kamala Harris with a vulgar dig.
What?
She said in response to Governor Gavin Newsom, she said on X, I checked with renowned world authority Professor Sugan D's Nuts,
What?
and he said parody is legal in America.
What?
Novakovic doubled down
Ari's really
in
falling
two
for this
follow-up
joke.
comments
She's really in on
saying
this joke.
not to mention Pulitzer Prize winner Dr. Head, first name Dick, and Newsom should create an endowed, wink, chair at University of California for Professor D's Nuts.
Matt, this is really depressing. I know what joke you're going for here, but it's really depressing me.
If those people actually said those things,
Yeah.
which none of those headlines are real,
Well-
except I just changed the names.
Yeah, the headlines are real, but the not the names.
If those people had said, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
I had
if
no idea.
Phoebe Novakovic, the female CEO of General Dynamics, said, "I checked with renowned world authority Professor Sugan D's Nuts." And he said parody is legal in America.
Yeah, but Matt-
or if
Should be fired
Ramon
in a
LaGuardia,
second.
the Pepsi CEO, accepted a challenge to fight Venezuelan strongman.
But Tesla stock is a meme stock. I mean, right? I mean, that's what it is.
Wow.
Imagine
it's just
if
about
those people
attention.
said those
it's just
things.
attention.
That would be the last thing they said in those positions.
Not only would it be the last thing they said, their boards would fire them immediately. Shareholders would ask what the hell those boards were doing.
Yeah.
The boards would get fired.
Even their brothers on the board
Their
would be like,
stocks would tank.
This is too much.
They
Meanwhile,
wouldn't get a job for 10 years.
They'd never have a job again. They'd never get a board position, or at least until people forgot. Meanwhile, the real headlines are Elon Musk said a throwdown with Mark Zuckerberg would be a short fight. And Mark Zuckerberg wants you to know he's a chain guy now.
I don't
And
really like you
Elon-
lumping in Elon with Zuckerberg on this. Mark Zuckerberg is not a vile character compared
He
to Elon Musk.
agreed to fight Elon
That's true.
Musk.
He
He
did.
agreed to that fight.
That
He
is,
goes
I'll
along
agree
with
that's
circus.
silly, but there really is no comparison. Elon Musk is a vile human being. Mark Zuckerberg, we don't have evidence of him being.
And just for the record,
Yeah.
it was Elon Musk who said those things about
yes, it was
Sugan
all
D's
the bad
nuts,
things
right?
you're saying
that was
here
Elon
are
Musk.
basically Elon Musk.
The asshole here is macho bullshit because not only were these headlines where man babies were just spewing macho bullshit like, oh, I'll fight you in Venezuela. Oh, I'll fight Mark Zuckerberg too. Oh, you know what? We're going to fight over politics. Oh, I can fight about Sogandi's nuts.
Again, you're talking about Elon Musk.
How fucking old are you people?
Yeah.
Not only that, but here are two other headlines that I didn't say.
Yeah.
Male comments are completely meaningless. Online reviews have a massive gender divide. So they found when they look at reviews between male reviewers and female reviewers that women actually review the product and men just say stupid bullshit.
Trolls. Yeah,
like
trolls.
sug on these nuts.
Yeah.
And how about this headline in the Wall Street Journal? Merit, excellence, and intelligence, an anti-DEI approach catches on. This is just man babies being man babies. I'm so fucking tired. I want every one of these headlines to switch to a woman or a black person and read it out loud and then say, oh my God, that's a horrific thing for that person to have said. And then realize someone actually said it, and just because they were a billionaire man baby does not make it okay. If you think it's gross that Phoebe Novakovic would say "sug on these nuts" to somebody else,
stop saying
why
that,
is
please.
it not gross for Elon Musk?
Matt, there's a headline from Fortune that I tagged this week. Here's the headline: I'm a tech CEO, and I asked a group of diverse women to expose biases in our AI chatbot. It didn't take long. That's the headline.
It's shockingly unbelievable to me what we put up with because of who said it. Having nothing to do with the merit of what's said, we just say, oh, they're a billionaire, or they make me money, or, that's just boys being boys. Meanwhile, I substitute any name in there. Like, can you imagine Marvin Ellison, a black male CEO who's worked his entire life to get to that position? There are 6 of them in the Fortune 500, saying something like, oh, I'll fight one of the other black male CEOs. It'd be a short fight because he's short, right? Like what?
All right, cut him off.
It's so fucking stupid.
Pull his plug.
All right, so those are your 3. It is the fake.
But that's really a
democracy.
long-winded way of a very clever, I will say, but long-winded way of once again just ripping your hair out because of the ongoing presence of Elon Musk, right? Because this really is about Elon Musk.
It's not. It goes beyond Elon Musk because we're listening to David Sachs and Vivek Ramaswamy's whole campaign.
Okay, well,
and it's man babies being man babies.
Or media.
I'm so tired of pretend
media
macho
organizations like relying on the clickbait of these type of stories. They don't have to keep pumping like this one about the chain. Where is that one? Mark Zuckerberg really wants you to know he's a chain guy. Now, that news outlet should not be putting out stories like that. That is
no, sure.
Is that
that's Business
absolutely.
Insider.
But that's just absolute nonsense.
That is exactly what Business Insider.
I know,
picture,
but it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
When Trump got shot in the ear, the picture of him like fist pumping the crowd with the American flag behind him, and people being like, "Oh, that's what a president looks like." That's fucking macho bullshit. If you listen to a single thing that guy said, whether or not he got shot in the ear should be absolutely immaterial to your vote. But they look at that picture and they say that guy's macho.
Why don't you go ahead and vote, Damien?
Those are your 3: the fake shareholder democracy,
fake shareholder democracy.
Fake AI bullshit, not giving us money,
and Elon Musk.
Macho bullshit.
All right, okay, macho bullshit. I mean, look, yeah, we do talk about this weekly. We don't seem to be moving the needle when it comes to like what are we supposed to do with macho bullshit and Elon Musk. So I'm going to pass on that one. That's a recurring story.
It is. It's AI nonstop, and it drives me nuts.
The AI story really is about the VCs, but I'm in full agreement with you is that the way they allocate money is disturbing because really they're just waiting for unicorns, right? They want to invest in that one company that turns into Nvidia so they can be ultra billionaires, right?
No, it's if they were to give their money to a firm like Free Float, which is like that doesn't say AI.
The scale of growth is not fast enough. Right.
No. They can get fired if we fail. But if they gave their money to AI when everybody else is, you can't get fired because you did what everyone else did.
But the one that, of course, that is most relevant to me and into this company, of course, is the ineffectiveness, the dormant shareholder democracy, because there really aren't enough people in our industry who are yelling about these same points. I mean, and I know they agree, but they need to talk about it because this is a very niche issue. This this. Although I think I feel like I remember either Nell or Bob talking about this back in the day.
It was Nell, yeah.
But
Nell
this is
Minow,
a very
the great Nell
niche
Minow.
issue. That boards are appointing directors before they're elected, but it feels like an important one because it undermines the role of oversight. It undermines the role of shareholders.
Think of it in terms of the percentage of their tenure, their average tenure.
You already told us that.
That's crazy to me.
That is mine.
12% of your tenure? That's crazy.
Well,
That's my
you know
vote. That's
what?
my vote.
Matt's gonna have to break a tie, and I already know
Ari, no.
which way he's gonna go. But the fact that your macho asshole bullshit thing
You
really
fell for
got
that.
me.
For all the headlines. You fell
Like,
for
if
that.
you
It was
heard
very
that
clever.
gasp, that was a real gasp. I had no idea what you were doing.
I wish
I'm
I
like,
hadn't.
there's no way these women are saying these things.
I wish I hadn't
That
collected
got
those
me.
headlines because maybe I would have fallen for it. But I did enjoy
That was
that.
good. That was good. So
Um,
that's my vote.
I have to go with the data one, but
Duh.
I actually agree that the macho bullshit one is.
But that's not really a
That was
weekly.
great. That was
That's
great.
not of this week issue. That's ongoing, unfortunately.
Come on.
Although I guess the
suck
other
on
one is
these
too.
nuts. Come on.
All right.
All right.
Moving
that
on.
means we move
Terrible.
on to
Terrible.
something else.
Headliniest, I believe.
Maybe I think from now on, Ari, that Matt should go second because we're always ending on this depressing downer. I mean, we gotta mix
That
up
is
the order
true.
here.
But the macho bullshit just really cracks me up, so I'm going to go as a high. But I'll go first. I have a headliniest this week.
Yeah.
And it is Mark
Oh,
Zuckerberg
back to
goes
Ooh.
he goes on stage, gets excited, and says swear word.
It doesn't.
And
What is
I don't
that?
know why that
What is
just
that?
cracked me up. It
It's
reminded
funny.
me of the time that I was meeting my friend's puppy, and the puppy got so excited he peed on me. And it just has
Your
the same
friend?
feel. He gets on
Who's
stage,
the he?
gets
Your friend or the
excited, and just
puppy?
pees. The puppy.
what was the swear word? Did you actually read the article? Do we know what the
No,
swear
it was
word
behind
is?
some paywall.
I like that headline.
I think it was noodles.
That's it.
And that's the segue to my headline. I just thought this headline was ridiculous. One of the world's top airlines, and first of all, headline writers, can't you just tell us the name of the headline in the...
It's Air Korea.
I mean, just
That's what
tell
it
us
is.
that
It's
because
Air
it's not
Korea.
American. You think I'm not going to care? I'm going to care. One of the world's top airlines will stop serving economy passengers in-flight instant noodles over fears of burns due to rising turbulence. And
I don't like the end of that.
There's two things this headline kind of leaves out. One is that they're still going to serve first-class passengers instant noodles.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And second,
Yeah.
the reason why there's a rise in turbulence is that scientists think the effects of climate change.
Climate change. I do want to
just think
point
it's
out
silly.
that I think that as a perk, you can still get instant noodles in first class, where you paid like $7,000 more for a
they're
ticket
7
for
cents at
99 cent
Hannaford.
noodle. Yeah,
Listen, as a phraseologist, that's my official title here at the company. I just love the phrase "in-flight instant noodles." Who knew that was a thing? I love that.
They taste so much better.
all right, here's
Tastes
mine.
a lot better than the in-flight magazine. I'll tell you that much.
Here's mine and why it's mine, because it's actually not that good of a headline. McDonald's gargantuan Big Arch Burger
Ugh.
contains 2/3 of your daily caloric intake, and
that
that's
true?
with no fries or drink.
Is
Wow.
that true?
No fries.
That's
no
perfect.
drink.
That's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, I don't think that's what people are doing with it. But I
How
just
many
like,
calories is that?
well, like 2,500 calorie day. It's like-
1065. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I just like to think of the pitch meeting when they were like, guys, the stock is tanking. People are not buying as much McDonald's. We jacked up the price so much because of greedflation. What do we do next? And someone raised their hand and was like, have we workshopped the idea of not just a burger, but like a big burger?
Bigger burger.
Like a bigger one, like with more stuff in it.
Ugh.
We'll charge more for it, but how about a big burger? Like that is burger
Yeah, but Matt,
innovation.
you know that
I love that.
the
Bigger.
cycle of these decisions takes years. So it's
I know,
obviously a
they're testing it in
mistimed new
markets.
product. I mean,
It's
gonna be
market test
$40.
cases. Yeah, I can't
Although
wait for someone to drive through AI and order an Arch Burger, and it gives them 4,000 Arch Burgers, like 7 years worth of calories.
I will say this to McDonald's credit that it might be worth $40 because it is basically all of your day's meals.
See?
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you didn't eat any more meals, yeah,
Which
that's
you
correct.
shouldn't and won't
you
because you're going to
wouldn't be
feel
able
gross.
to.
Yeah.
I'm if they were picking a headline here, I'm going with Ari's though.
Oh, please.
Yup.
Gets excited, says swear, and just the
In-flight
idea of
instant noodles.
a dog peeing on Ari's leg actually just threw
All right,
it over.
Ari,
the edge
you
for
vote
me.
for that one. Let's just move on. Let's get out of there. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
Move on.
Which gets
Of
us to
course.
winners and predictions.
Woo! All right. Well, my winner this week is Elon Musk for saying all those things and still having a job.
Really?
Wait,
Is
that's
that-
your winner?
Oh, that's the worst
Yep.
winner.
Your winner's
Yep.
Elon for sucking, but still having a sucky job, and still
Yeah.
at a company
I feel like the
that
winner.
I
seems
think
to
he
suck.
likes his sucky job. So
I think
He's
the winner
happy.
should be Phoebe Novakovic for not having said those things, despite the fact that I pretended she did.
Mine is
All right,
quick
Yeah.
and boring. It's still Kamala Harris. It's still my winner.
Oh.
Oh.
Blah, blah, blah.
Although it probably should be
She
Simone
is-
Biles because I did stay up watching.
Oh,
that
there
last
you go.
night. Yeah.
She did bring in like $300 million for the month of July, and she more than doubled Trump's.
And
You
I'm
know
going to be
what?
honest. I did shop yesterday, so I feel like it's her fault.
Oh no,
you're not depressed anymore. That's good. But the winner should really be NBC for like hiring Snoop Dogg and all these other personalities that seem to have paid off.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
The ratings are super
It's
high.
oddly entertaining. You know why they're high? Again, it's back to that Amazon story because Americans
People
are
are
suddenly
depressed.
not depressed. I think Kamala's giving us hope and
think
feeling
so.
we're feeling patriotic about something again.
Well, you're both wrong about the winner
right.
anyway. The
Who was
winner was the company Bosch.
Bosch.
Yeah, it's a company
They
that
have
won
nice
this
stuff.
week. Here's the headline. First headline I saw: Bosch to buy Johnson Controls air conditioning assets for $8 billion
That
deal.
is a smart buy.
And I saw the next headline I saw, like literally the next one
Yeah.
I saw was 4 hottest days ever observed raise fears of planet nearing a tipping
Oh,
point. Imagine.
That's a buy.
Imagine that purchase, baby.
You know,
Get
it's funny.
that air conditioning.
It's
4
funny.
hottest days.
In France's attempt to make these Olympics like sustainable, however you want to define that word, they're making their best efforts to not destroy everything around them while hosting these Olympics. One of them was to not have a ridiculous usage of air conditioning. And you know who's complaining
saw
about
that.
a lack of air conditioning? Is the American athletes.
the Americans, yeah, we
They're
are.
pissed.
We don't like
because,
being warm.
Because most Americans, I mean, I live in New England, so I don't really know air conditioning that well, but most Americans live like constantly like 60-degree air conditioning like in Houston. Like that's their expectation. You're crazy. Americans are crazy.
All right, what are the predictions? You don't have a
Predictions.
prediction, do you?
I don't.
I have
no
a
prediction.
I have a very boring CEO-based prediction. I'm throwing it out there. I'm throwing my boomerang out there. Howard Schultz back at Starbucks? Question mark. Boomerang
wow,
Howard.
that's a legitimate.
Why not? Because
That's a real prediction.
let's not forget, like Bob Iger, he lurks around. He creeps around on LinkedIn. He's criticizing the company. He's putting his dumb points of view out there. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting Howard Schultz again. I never thought it would happen, but
I like that prediction and hate that prediction at the same time. All right, my prediction, the final prediction: McDonald's appoints a big Archburger to the board.
oh.
Pays it $400,000 with the signing bonus and use of the corporate jet, and it serves 9 full months before investors get a chance to say, why is there a hamburger on the
they'll
board of this company?
Yeah, but they'll vote
Let's
him in
vote it out.
anyway, or her, or it.
I love the idea
Matt,
that McDonald's, they could put a burger on a board.
You're forgetting the other part of that prediction is that burger also gets appointed to the Starbucks board as part of their expansion because this is how board membership works in the S&P 500.
Man, it's good to be the big Archburger. That's all we got. That was Ari the Data Queen. I'm your analyst, Matt Mascardi. That's Hazelnut Rollis. We are Free Float. We'll be back next week to do more of the same thing. Come out on Tuesday. Listen to the show. We've got, I think we did Nuggets this week. No, we
doing
did some
something.
weird list
Maybe
this week.
whose fault is it anyway again?
Whose fault is it anyway? That was our show this week. That was great. We got a proxy countdown possibly next week, which is our other show. And we'll be back next week on Friday. Until then, goodbye.